trying to sway you cause I ain't got all the answers. I'm just trying to convey to you, I be taking some chances. If my shit don't pertain to you, you can check out your man shit. You ain't teach us a damn thing, you ain't give us the game. We was giving you signals, but you ain't give us
Hi.
a lane.
Welcome to another episode of I Don't Have the Answers, but let's talk about it anyway. I'm your host, Tim the Answer Man 4, and I appreciate you showing up and joining me for this trip. For those that have never watched an episode, shame on you. Where you been? For the rest of you that have watched diligently every single week, I appreciate you. For everybody else, I'll come up with something with you to say later. So this week, we're going to talk about families. You know, that loving group that helped you become who you are and supported you through everything. And no, we're not doing that. We're talking about fights, squabbling, arguing, tiffs, whatever you want to call it. Families fight. They do it all the time. When you're kids, you fight over the stupidest things. Where's my toy? Mom, he ate the last of the Cheerios. That's just a couple of them. Sometimes you didn't have a reason to fight. Wake up first thing in the morning, go to the bathroom, rub the sleep out of your eyes, look at your sister, and that's it. It's on. Right there. You don't know why, but you're about to fight. They could also start fights when they're not even around. I got in a fight, my first fight in school, in 8th grade. It was because of my sister, who was in a younger grade. A grade behind me. And I thought that I needed to defend her honor. When in fact, I got my butt kicked. And got knocked out.
Down goes Frazier!
It was not cool. And I probably just put a funny sound effect there to make y'all laugh. But I deserve it. I thought I was going to be the cool big brother defending my sister's honor, but the guy got a lucky punch. Yeah, I'm going to call it a lucky punch. Kind of like when you were playing Mike Tyson's Punch-Out back in the day, and you hit Glass Joe at just the right moment, and lights out. That was me. 1 minute I'm looking at him, the next minute I'm looking at eyelids. Mine, they were closed. But anyway, that's not the point of the conversation. The fight was because of family, and I will always, to this day, defend my sisters or brothers with every bit of my being, every fiber of me. But I have been known to be in altercations with them. Not so much my brothers because they're cool and, I mean, we get along great now. I mean, at one point we didn't. But my sisters and I, we do have some drama from now and then. But that's not what we're talking about today. I want to talk about the families out there that have major altercations to the point where they stop talking to one another. Holidays are missed. No more presents on birthdays because of something small. I firmly believe that fights like this are because they never watched any of the Fast and Furious movies. I threw that in there for you, Mike. Because, you know, Dom Toretto always, you know, toting that family is forever motto and I don't have friends, I have family thing.
Salute me
And personally, I think that Mr. Toretto might have gotten a little bit too much of Lilo and Stitch with the whole Ohana juice. And, you know, Ohana means family, and family means you don't get left at this door or something like that.
Ohana means family.
But what I'm saying is, I think that if we stopped squabbling over stupid things, we may be a little better, especially when it comes to the people that you're supposed to care about the most. I mean, let's break it down. Why do families fight? Some of the biggest reasons that are in this one story that I read, have to do with the top 7 reasons that siblings fight. And one of them is sibling conflict over elderly parent. So in some situations where they fight over who's going to take care of the parent or what's going to happen next. Other reasons for fighting is step-parent, step-child conflicts. I can honestly say that was the case when early on in the new relationship with my dad and stepmom. There's conflicts over family events. There's conflicts over politics. There's conflict over money. All of those conflicts, they lead to big altercations. And it's even worse when it's family, because family knows your weak spots. They paid attention to you all your life. They know what gets under your skin. And in my case, I'm a little sensitive when it comes to my sisters, and I know that when my family comes at me, because I don't want to fight dirty, but it just happens. They don't want to fight dirty, but it just happens. We also have a captive audience. I mean, in most cases, they're not going to just turn around and walk away. They're your family, and especially if you happen to choose an opportune time for the argument, such as like a holiday or a family get-together. Of course, that goes over great when there's a big fight when a bunch of family is over. But how do you avoid it? What steps do you go through to get out of a family conflict? I think the first thing you got to do is realize that there is one. Knowing that you're in the middle of a family argument or a conflict can be the single most important thing and the single most important step to getting out of it. Because a lot of times these things happen and you don't even know that they're going on. I mean, well, you're participating, but you're so wrapped up in it, you don't know the depth of the conflict until you take a moment to step back. Who is this impacting? Who is on the receiving end? Is it just my cousin, or is it just my aunt? No, it's everybody. Because then you've got other people involved in this situation without even knowing it. Because you go to them and you're like, can you believe what cousin Jojo said? Or, I can't believe that Billy Bob said this. Now you've wrapped somebody else into the battle. And they're inadvertently taking sides. And when they have to be in contact with the other party, they're feeling uncomfortable. So I think that the single most important part, like I said, is identifying that you're in a conflict. It's the hardest also. But once you identify it, step back. Replay the reasons that you're there. Regardless of whether you initiated it or not, break it down. Is this worth blowing up the family? Is it worth everything that has gotten you to where you are? Because the family that you're arguing with could very much be the only people that are going to be there for you in the end. Now, I'm not talking about the end, the one when they're praying and putting dirt on your body. I'm talking about in the end of the argument. Because a lot of times your friends, the people that aren't blood, they're not there at the end to see what happened, to see the destruction. So, regardless of who's at fault, think about and figure out why you're fighting to begin with. Is it worth it? Now, in some cases, it might actually be worth it. Now, you're probably saying, Tim, what could possibly be worth destroying the family? Now, I'm not going to say that I know exactly what could be worth it, but I can throw some ideas out there. Now, if you happen to find out that your sibling or your cousin committed a vile crime, yeah, you might want to have an argument about that one and distance yourself from that individual. For legal reasons, I mean, you don't want to be seen as an accomplice. But for other reasons too. I mean, if you have a moral objection to what caused their crime or what they did in that crime, yeah. Hands up, back away. Sorry, we're done. But do it amicably. Talk it out if you can. Discuss it. Move on. Now, if your argument is over politics, Just stop. Yes, I understand, and it's hard, but stop. Who gives a damn? Pardon my language. Who you're voting for, who you're supporting, whatever. It's your decision. You do it. Do whatever you want to. Move on. Family is stronger than politics. Give it 4 years, 6 years, 8 years, whatever it is, the term, and you'll be on to the next one. Deal with it. If I'm going to vote for one guy and you're voting for somebody else, it's okay. It's what the world is built on. So what I'm saying is determine what the reason is for your argument and your conflict. I'm not saying resolve it. I'm saying you've got a choice. Decide if it's worth the relationship or the family. And there's other people involved. There's nieces and nephews and grandkids and great-grandkids, aunts and uncles and cousins. If you have a big family like mine, you could possibly cause a major rift in the family. All right. I want you sitting down for this next part because it's going to be a little difficult. The next part is suck it up and apologize. I don't care who's wrong, what's wrong, why they're wrong. Apologize. You might not apologize for what caused the fight, but apologize for the actions that you took during the fight. Because I know damn well, and so do you, that you were being shady, you were being evil and vindictive, and you were not pulling punches, and you were saying things you shouldn't have. Apologize. Now, this next one is almost as hard, if not worse. Forget about it and move on. So 4 steps. Realize you're in a fight or an argument. Step back and determine if it's worth the fight or not. If it is, keep duking it out. It's your business. Go ahead and do what you want to do. If not, step 3, apologize. Regardless of whether you think you're wrong or not, just suck it up and apologize. And number 4, forget about it and move on. Now, why did I say forget about it and move on? Because what is it bothering you so bad? You've already determined it's not worth the whole family fighting and separating over. You've already apologized for being a low-down scoundrel during the argument. Why do you need to keep bringing it back up? Once it's done, once you have crossed that bridge and moved on to the next step, do not revisit it. I'm not saying forget that you have a difference of opinion. I'm saying don't bring it up to anybody else in the family again. Bury it deep in the ground as far as the family is concerned. That means not calling up another cousin and saying, hey, you remember when such and such did such and such? No, you don't do that either. It's done. Family is thicker than that. You don't deal with these things forever and ever. This is not the Hatfields and the McCoys where you can have a feud forever and ever for stupid reasons. Now, I am actually going to put a disclaimer here. I have no freaking clue what the Hatfields and the McCoys honestly did argue over. Do not hit me up and say, hey, they fought over this, this, and this. I get it. It's history. I'm not exactly the best in history. My wife can tell you. One of my sons can tell you. But what I'm saying is, we've got to figure out a way to get past it. Family is supposed to be there for each other. They're not supposed to have arguments and fights and drag everybody else down with it. Now, a lot of you out there might be saying, man, I wonder what Tim's fighting about. This isn't about me. This is about a lot of people that I've seen out there fighting with their siblings and with their family members, and it's pointless. We've come too far as a people. We've got a lot of other stuff out there that we need to fight about. This is not it. This is not the group to fight with. I know that you've got your opinions out there, people. I know that they exist. I urge you to bring them to me. Say something. Tell me what you guys have fought about. What silly stuff you fought about when you were little. What stuff you're fighting about now. Hopefully you can make something funny about it. I know for a fact that I fought in my life. I fought over Legos. I have fought over Hot Wheels. I have fought over Cheerios. Cartoons. Oh, fought over cartoons every Saturday when my sister got to the point where we had to have a schedule and who gets to control the TV in 30-minute increments. It was sad. It was really sad when the show that we wanted to watch was an hour long. You had to. It was hostile. But I look back and I think to myself how ridiculous those fights are now. I hope that I have grown up to a point where I don't have fights over Cheerios anymore. But you never know. I don't have all the answers. But I'll still talk about it.
The boy is off
Thanks
Broadway.
everybody. Have a great night.
We're watching.
Welcome to I Don't Have All the